And for over 400 years, the Israelites were slaves. They were slaves to the Egyptians for over 400 years. It was more slaves than masters, and that's just an equation of the American slave story. But it was more of them than masters, yet they were still enslaved. You wonder how can you enslave a massive amount of people with a handful of people? You have to get the mind first. So in Exodus 14, we hear God talking to Moses about how he was about to free them from their enemies. Because sometimes God has to step in when we can't do it for ourselves. In Exodus 14:13, Moses is talking to the people because God had just told him that he's about to free them. And if you ever had heard of freedom, but you never really touched freedom, when somebody comes to you and tell you you're going to be free, it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, all right. Okay, I heard that. I heard that. Another prophecy, another word. All right, let me scroll past this because I'm going to be a millionaire. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So here he is going to them, and Moses is saying something specifically to them. In 13, he says, Moses answered the people, do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord that he will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see. And to a slave who's never seen freedom, they don't even, you will never see. And to a slave who's never seen freedom, they don't even know what it tastes like. Do you know that freedom has a taste? Do you know it has a smell? It has all of that. But if you never knew it, then you never knew. God parted the Red Sea that had been there their whole time. Had they had enough faith, they could have walked to the edge of it. Said, God, help us out. We don't know how to swim. We don't know how to build a boat. We don't even know what that is, but we dare to be free again. But it took that one person to come in and say, freedom is here. Freedom is at your feet. So I want to come back and I want to get back to what God had gave me. So the equation of a bird in a cage versus a free bird is a free bird always had freedom. And sometimes it takes it for granted because it's always outside. The cage bird is locked inside a house or on a porch. Wings are clipped so it cannot fly even if it wanted to fly, nor it doesn't even know how to fly. And it sings songs of something that it doesn't know. How many people have sung a song of freedom, yet you don't even know what it is to be free? You wake up every day and you don't want to work your job, but you put your little music on, get hyped up, you get in your car, and you go there because you have to. We think that birds are singing because they're just beautiful songs, but they sing because they have to. It's their job. They have nothing else to do. They're singing of something that they don't know, but they're wishing for.
That's deep.
They're singing because one day they want to soar to greater heights that they've never seen. They hear the birds outside. They hear their songs, and they're trying to mimic what they see or what they hear. Because some of them never can even see outside, but they can hear the free birds' songs. They can hear the free birds. How many of us are at our job and we're watching these TikToks and these reels of all these people traveling this lavish life and living this life, and we hear and we see the free people, but we don't know what that looks like, because some of them were born into that, and we were born into poverty and slavery, and we don't really know what that is. To travel, to fly on a plane, to even go to another state in a car ride, to even take a MARTA or a train. Some of us will never do that in our lifetime because we weren't born into that. And if we weren't born into it, and if we're told that we have to work by the sweat of our brow every single day, then that's what we will do, unless shown otherwise. And even if we're shown otherwise, it's hard for us to believe. And when we get it, we might fumble it because we don't think that we deserve it. A lot of us throw away our blessings because we don't know that they're blessings. Or we start looking at ourselves and saying we don't know how to walk the part or talk the part or look the part. So we put ourselves back in bondage because we don't know who we are. You were born for this. The Israelites were free before they got put into slavery. So because they once had freedom and they got enslaved and they were born to be a slave, they never knew their true history of being free. Slaves wasn't always slaves, even in America. We were kings and queens once. We traveled and we got stuck and in bondage, and we're trying to fight our lives and get our way out. But survival mode happens, and we were taught survival since we were born. Put your head down. Don't look people in the face. Walk this way. Get off the sidewalk. Do this. Do that. Get your job. Pay the bills. Do what you got to do. Get your master's. Get your bachelor's. Do whatever you got to do to be something, not knowing that you were already born to be something. There's nothing that you have to do to please man to be something. That's it. You were born for greatness. The feelings of your wings getting clipped, being severely restricted, losing freedom, being unable to reach your full potential, or being held back from pursuing your ambitions, are often accompanied by a sense of frustration, powerlessness, and longing for liberation. Essentially, it means to be prevented from doing something that you naturally want to do and unable to do. You were born to fly, but if you didn't know you could fly, how can you fly? Your wings have been clipped since before you was in your mother's womb, born to a poverty-struck mother, born to a project mother, born to a crackhead mother, born to an alcohol mother, like born into poverty. You never knew. You never knew that you can fly. They don't know how to teach what they don't know. Because for them, they had to survive with you. So even how they raised you was out of survival. And how you raise your children is out of survival. And who's going to stop it? Or are we going to continue to struggle, not knowing who you were born to be? How many people don't even know what ambition means? To have a dream. To know that you can pursue the dreams. And not dreams to work for somebody or dreams to get a job that pays $30 an hour and to build their dreams because you're working in someone else's dream. Every time you clock in someone's 9 to 5, you're working their dream. But what about yours? What about yours? What do you want to do? Who are you? What does God put on your heart to do? But if you're never told that you can do something, then how can you? Loss of independence, feeling like you can't make your own choices, or taking action without external limitations. Frustrated and confinement, a sense of being trapped or stuck in a situation that prevents you from achieving your goals. Discouraging, low self-esteem, feeling like your abilities are being diminished and not valued, and a yearning to escape. A strong desire to break free from the constraints that are holding you back. How many people know that feeling? The feeling of wanting to do something, not knowing how to do something. Maybe you can't do something because low self-esteem, or when you start, you get frustrated and you put it down and you walk away from it and you never go back again. Or if you tried and you failed, it knocks something out of you and you kind of don't want to do it again because what if you fall again? I counter that with, what if you win again? What if you win again? What if this is the time that you decide to say, hey, I'm going to pick this back up again? And God says, I've been waiting on you. I've been waiting on you. So God then began to break down the word slaves, because how many of us know that sometimes we can still be a slave? And I'm going to break that down because I know y'all be like, I ain't no slave. I ain't picking no cotton. It's many ways to be a slave to something. And I'm going to break it down for you. Africans brought to America faced immediate loss and self-determination and premeditated in every facet in the fashion. The word immediate stands out to me. What kind of slave have you been? Let me break this down for you, because you're like, I ain't no slave. She tripping. Pastor Lindari tripping. Okay, let me break it down. Have you ever been a slave to smoking? Ooh, I'm gonna get deep. Have you ever been a slave to smoking? You wake up, you gotta smoke weed, you gotta smoke a cigarette. You gotta get your coffee. Oh, come on, Starbucks drinkers. Before you get out the door, you gotta cut that music on because you gotta get hyped up, because you can't get yourself to do it yourself. Have you ever been a slave to laying with somebody? Because you can't be alone. Have you ever been a slave to anger? Because you can't control your emotions when somebody got the right one today, tomorrow, and the next day. I'm not the 1, 2, or the 3. What have you been a slave to? To me, a slave is anything that controls you. Because we've been a slave to a lot of things. alcohol, weed, cigarettes, partying, drinking. I'm talking about, if you think about it, we put the label addiction on something, but I go deeper because we have full control of ourselves. But if you don't know that you're a slave to something and you're bigger than that thing, then you'll never know that you can break it. Just like the slaves never knew they can walk off. They can literally walk off. They could have all teamed up together. And they could have easily overtook the two masters in the house with whips. But they had been so beat down mentally, breaking the buck and everything else, that they couldn't move if they wanted to. Fear stifled them. Slave to fear. It stifled them. So they couldn't move how they wanted to move. They couldn't drink how they wanted to drink. They got there slaving away, afraid of a whip that they could have snatched. But when you have been a slave to something, it has full control over you. Joseph, you have been trained to not do something. You have been trained to say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, all right, I'll be there in 5 minutes, even when you're tired. You've been conditioned. All your life, you've been conditioned the wrong way. But God is saying that he's coming in to free the way you've been thinking. He's going to clear the way of that slave mentality. And at first it's going to feel strange, because always starting things over is always, even when I'm walking into a new job, it's always a little bit of nervousness that happens. Because what if I fail? And what if they don't like me? And what ifs? We have to take the what ifs out of our mind. Have you ever been a people pleaser? Afraid to say no. Even when you don't want to do something, you get up and you're going to do it. And the right people know how to find people pleasers because they're users. So a user will find a people pleaser and make them feel bad for not helping them, even though they can help themselves. How many of you guys have exasperated yourself to people who won't do anything for you? You poured out into people who will never appreciate it, and they will never pour out to you. You give and you give and you give and you give, and they take. Now you angry with the world when you need to make better choices, because the right people will come along and appreciate even you just saying hi to them, because no one has even spoken to them before. The wrong people will be angry when you say, hey, I just need to take time for myself right now. I'm not mentally okay. The wrong people will get offended because they can't use you in the moment right now, not knowing that you're mentally unstable right now, not knowing that you're going through your own battles right now. But a selfish person or greed only knows more and more and more. And they'll wear a t-shirt when you decide to off yourself because they don't care. They're going to party at your gravesite because they're going to find another person to take from. Life goes on in the real world. Like here, they're going to party at your gravesite because they're going to find another person to take from. Life goes on in the real world. Life goes on. So what did being a slave to being a people pleaser do for you? Absolutely nothing. God is just saying that he's about to break something off. He says, I'm not leaving until I do. The shackles of bondage are being unlocked today. Freedom is being released today. And your wings are about to spread, because even clipped wings can grow back. Even clipped wings can grow back. And it all starts in the mind. In Romans 8:15 it says, for you did not receive the spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption as sons, by whom we cry, Abba and Father. God is saying the spirit of slavery is about to leave your body right now. I don't know who I'm talking to, but you've been a slave to something in your life. And it's about to leave. It's about to flee 1,000 different ways. You will never be used again. Even now, you're sitting here contemplating, do I really need? You will never be used again. Even now, you're sitting here contemplating, do I really need that job now? You are the job. You are the church. You're mine, bro. Job now. You are the job. You are the church. You're mine, bro. Like you're mine. Job. You are the church. Your mind, bro. Like your mind. It's all in the mind. That's why when depression comes, it comes in the mind. Everything happens in the mind. Whatever a man thinketh, so is he. It's all in the mind. That's why when depression comes, it comes in the mind. Everything happens in the mind. Whatever a man thinketh, so is he. And once you decide that, hey, my wings ain't really clipped, thinketh, so is he. And once you decide that, hey, my wings ain't really clipped, my wings ain't really clipped, I could always fly. I just got to figure out how. And it all starts with the mind. It all starts with how you thinking. And that's how the devil get in there. You laying in your bed, you wasn't sad, but all of a sudden the sun come on, and now your brain is like, remember when you were sad? Remember what they did? Remember. It's all in the mind. Nobody can even be talking to you, bro. And all of a sudden, these thoughts just get in there. Counter those thoughts and change the way you thinking. Because God is getting ready to unclip some wings. When the slaves realized that they did have power, they began to run away. And now there was a power struggle, because here come the hound dogs. Here comes the hound dogs looking for that scent, because slavery has a scent. Ooh, do you know that? Because slavery has a scent. Now it's tracking down that scent. And the only way to get the hound dogs off was how? Going to the water. Somebody sang with me. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. It's crazy how they knew to get to the water. The Egyptians was chasing out the Israelites in Exodus 14, but they got to the water. They got to the water. It's the reason why they're telling us aliens are in the water. Nobody cares. Ancestors are in the water, fighting for their lives too. Galatians 4:7. So, no longer are you a slave, but God's child. And since you are his child, you are made an heir. So, when you hear people say you have an inheritance coming, you're like, I ain't got no inheritance. Oh, wealth transfer coming. I ain't got no money. Who said that you had it? It couldn't be a transfer if you don't got it. If you already got the money, how can they transfer it to you? It's a transfer because God promised it to you. And he's not a man that he should lie, nor the son of man that he should repent. It's not going to come from you. It's going to come from your father, because you are an heir to a kingdom. It says in the Bible, that if you are a seed of Abraham, it come from your father, because you are an heir to a kingdom. It says in the Bible, that if you are a seed of Abraham, then you are an heir. You already got it. Then you are an heir. You already got it. You already got it. It's inside of you. You got to believe. The only thing that is stopping you from being a millionaire, a billionaire, whatever, is the way you think about yourself. How many times in a day do you say that you can't do something? Or you get frustrated and you walk away from something? The devil counting on you to get frustrated. The devil is counting on you to walk away from your blessing. Or you get frustrated and you walk away from something. The devil counting on you to get frustrated. The devil is counting on you to walk away from your blessings, because he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And if he can kill your mind first, he ain't got to do nothing else. You done did it. You done already did it. You did the job for him. There's promises in this Bible. Promise to prosper us, not to harm us. Promises to give us a hope for a greater future. It's already there. You got to go get it. We have people dying, leaving promises on the table, leaving inheritance on the table, because they didn't know that they had it. They didn't know that they had it. And the devil's laughing all the way to the bank. Give me something to drink out the car. The devil's laughing all the way to the bank. He's laughing because now his kingdom is getting edified. You never see hell fighting against hell, but you see Christians against Christians and prophets against prophets. You see the kingdom of heaven fighting against each other because y'all mind ain't wrapped right. Just like when it was time for them to run away, You always had the one that's gonna go tell master, such and such planning at 5 o'clock to go run away. And all of a sudden, when they decide to free their mind and get down the road, the master and the dogs waiting on them because somebody done turned against them. Instead of working together, there should have never been no runaway R's, because all y'all should have got together and overtook them. You mean you cooking 3 meals a day and ain't crush no glass up and take them people out? Because your mind. So when it's time to run away, they have to be quiet. So I say this to you. When you're running away, be quiet. When you're planning on escaping the mental slavery, be quiet. Because there's always going to be somebody ready to go report to master that you're about to escape. And you're going to face opposition after opposition after opposition. Because how dare you get away? How dare you escape? How dare you get the inheritance? How dare you and not them? Not knowing if they just saddle up and come on, we can all get free together. But you can't take everybody with you. I'm talking to somebody right now. Because what God is about to do in your life, you can't take everybody with you. And you can't let your left hand know what your right hand doing. Because not every smiling face is a smiling face. And although you might want to take some childhood friends, everybody can't go with you. Everybody can't. And I know it hurts because you want to see them elevate, but they got to want to elevate. They got to elevate. They have to elevate first. And if they don't elevate, they're gonna damage everything. That's why they say hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. That's fine, baby. That's fine. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hurt people hurt people. And you don't want to take no damaged person with you that's going to sabotage everything that you've worked for. That's going to sabotage your marriage, your family, your job, your business. They're going to show their behind when they get up there. And now you got to fix these people. You got to cover up for them people. They ain't mean it. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Because they're mentally not free. It's kind of like we go back to with Lot and Abram. And God told him in Genesis, I forget the verse, Genesis, but he told him to go to a land that he will show him. He says, go to a land that I will show you and leave your family. I will bless those who bless you and I will curse those who curse you. But he was supposed to leave everything, but he decided to take Lot. Then Lot got greedy and he told Lot, okay, we can't travel this road together. This is how they really got separated. And people don't really be talking about the separation of Lot and Abraham. Because they couldn't be together anymore. Although they traveled this long road together, they couldn't be together anymore. So he said, you pick out whatever land you want and you go to it. I'm not going to fight you. You can pick out the best land. And in Lot's eyes, he did. He saw the best land and greed. He took it, not knowing that that land was cursed. Because just because something looks beautiful doesn't mean it is. And when he got there, there were people waiting on him. There were people waiting to rape him. And he thought his daughters, because he was going to offer him up. But no, the men wanted him. So now he got to sleep in front of the city and tell people not to come in. But now Abraham has to go save him. So he goes in and save him and his family. And he said, God says, don't look back. But it wasn't just a look back. Let me break this happened with Lot's wife. Because God is freeing them from something that was literally trying to kill them. And God gave them one instruction. Don't look back. Come on, somebody. God about to give you an instruction. Because your past is not. And God gave them one instruction. Don't look back. Come on, somebody. God about to give you an instruction. Because your past is knocking. Your past is knocking. And the past is a past for a reason. Because what was back there was something that you were trying to get. Your past is knocking. And the past is a past for a reason. Because what was back there was something that you were trying to run and escape from. You were trying to pray your way out of it. And God delivered you. And he's giving you one instruction today. Don't look back. And people think it was just she just looked over her shoulder. No. And people think it was just she just looked over her shoulder. No, it was an action. He said, don't look back. And they were running, and she stopped, and she did this. she walked back. And she turned into a pillar of salt. Because when we say she looked back, we think it's just she went back. We think it's just she went back. The city was on fire. Back, we think it's just she went back. The city was on fire. And since the city was on fire, it had sulfur and all these kind of acids that's happening. And that's what she turned into. So we have to break it down because it's more than just a glance back. Because sometimes we glance back like maybe you think. But when we physically turn our body and physically be disobedient, whatever happens over there, we're out of the protection of God. Our body and physically be disobedient. Whatever happens over there, we're out of the protection of God. He said don't look back for a reason because he was setting it on fire. He was taking it to the ground, burning it to the ground, and the protection of God. He said don't look back for a reason because he was setting it on fire. He was taking it to the ground, burning it to the ground. And when she went back, she was a part of the destruction. And we never know about her no more. She was a part of the destruction. And we never know about her no more. That was it. That was her fate. You can't save everybody. Even when you love them, you can't save everybody. You have to leave. That was it. That was her fate. You can't save everybody. Even when you love them, you can't save everybody. You have to leave the past in the past. And if you have to leave the past in the past. And if you prayed your way out of something and God delivered you, and you go back because you hear about their life going down turmoil, you think that you're doing right now. You prayed your way out of something and God delivered you, and you go back because you hear about their life going down turmoil, you think that you're doing right now. One of my children, and if I gotta take them out, I'm gonna take them out because you don't know what they've been plotting against you. That's what I'm gonna do. It's deeper than just looking back. It's turning back to turmoil and destruction and death. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. You can do anything that you put your mind to. Spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You can do anything that you put your mind to. God is getting ready to free. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You can do anything that you put your mind to. God is getting ready to free you from bondage, but it's up to you if you're going back. It's up to you if mentally you're going to be stuck, because God is giving you happiness and joy and peace that surpasses all understanding. But that devil comes in late in the midnight hour, and he gives you dreams and visions of what once was. The subconscious mind that once blocked out the pain is letting the little moments of happiness seep in. And you remember when you laughed a certain kind of way. Whenever the slaves would get free, some of them would go back because they were used to working by the sweat of their brow, and now they have freedom and they don't really know what to do. What do I do? You can sleep now. You can sleep now without fear of being raped. You can sleep now without fear of someone coming in and attacking you. You can rest. But if you've never had freedom and you're trying to sleep in a place that is quiet, it sounds so loud. Do you know that silence sounds so loud? Do you know that silence is loud? When you can finally get free from abuse and free from slavery and free from bondage, and you go into a dark room and it's quiet, it's still loud. Silence it. Silence it. It's still loud. Silence it. Silence it. That's why they went back. Many slaves went back. Many slaves told on the other ones because the voices are too loud. You got the power to do anything. Loud. You got the power to do anything. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's time to start speaking life over yourself. You got the power to do anything. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It's time to start speaking life over yourself now. Many things that were supposed to take you out in this lifetime didn't. Why? Because you have a bigger purpose. Many things that were supposed to take you out in this lifetime didn't. Why? Because you have a bigger purpose. You might not know what that is, and I can't tell you your purpose. But I can tell you this. You're not alive for no reason. If you think about how many things and people try to take you out, and how many times your freedom has been taken, but God keeps giving it right back to you because you have a greater purpose. There's a reason for why you are here this day. Even you couldn't take you out. And I can't tell you what your clipped wings feel like, but I can describe mine in a sense. Even you couldn't take you out. And I can't tell you what your clipped wings feel like, but I can describe mine in a sense. I was born to a teenage mom in the projects. I lived me a good little life. Well, I tell you, it was a life. It was a horrible life. And all I really known was abuse, neglect, and abandonment. But one day God came in and he told me that I was going to live a different life, and I was on housing, and I just was like, I know you ain't talking about me, God. I know you ain't talking about me. Like, ain't no way you can use somebody like me. At that time, I had been left again, and I was a mother of 4 with all these kids by myself again, bills piled up, not knowing, just trying to take any kind of job still. And God kept saying, I'm going to use you. And he said, I'm going to change your name and make it a household name. And I said, how? How? The how wasn't for me to know. It was just for me to obey. He said that if I seek him every single day, that he was going to continue to change my life, and he ain't lied. Every day I'm just in awe. Going from housing and welfare and making $5 struggle meals to feed my kids to not even having to worry about what I'm going to feed them. Sleeping at night hungry because I can't feed them. Giving them a bowl of noodles between 4 children. Trying to figure my life out. And one day God heard the prayers that I did not know how to pray. Because I didn't know how to pray to him. He heard me. So I say to you, if you're like me, or were like me, broken, with clipped wings, not knowing that you can fly, seek him first. Seek him first. And your life is going to be forever changed. Don't worry about the how or the when. Just know that it's about to happen for you. Heavenly Father, thank you for giving me this word, that it's about to happen for you.